Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Concord Clover mod, which is being made by user a guy called B. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a wonderful new player home in the form of the Concord Clover, which is not just a player home, but also a functioning bar. And who wouldn't want that? That sounds like my kind of player home indeed. Now, from the name and from where I'm standing, you could probably guess where you'll find this place. It is, of course, in a Concord, just on the sort of southwestern outskirts of town, where you'll have this one lone little building here with the Concord Clover sign on it. Now, to actually unlock it as a home, you'll have to do a very short quest, but it's very simple. When you first find this place, there'll be a body on the steps. There's a key and a note on the inside giving you a little bit of info, and you just gotta simply head on into the bar with said key and then activate the Protectron bartender who's inside, and then bam, you've got yourself a lovely new player home slash bar. Good times indeed. Now, all in all, there's 3 floors to the whole place, and with pretty much everything you'd really want in a player home. It is lacking in a few features, which we'll talk about as we go. But the main sort of elements of the home is, of course, the ground floor, which is the main bar area. This is where you'll actually fast travel into if you use the fast travel point on the map. It has your bartender, who is a vendor. It's got a cooking station, a place to put up a flag, and also a bounty terminal for you to go hunt down some commies. More on that later. Then we also do have a cellar where there is a weapon and armor workbench, as well as a functioning target range that you can actually get like high score and timing on and everything. It's actually really cool. I quite like that. And then finally, there's the top floor of the whole bar, where you have your player bed, a chemistry station, a weapon vendor, and most importantly, a text-based drinking game for you to enjoy. Again, it's a player home slash bar. How could you not have that? It's just good times. And all in all, it's a pretty good little place. It's got more or less all the different workstations you would want in a player home, with the one exception of a power armor station. The biggest thing it is lacking, which you'll see when we're in here, is storage. You can, of course, use the linked storage between all the different workstations, but overall, yeah, that's the big lacking thing in this player home. Now, let's head on inside and take a look at everything in a bit more detail, and go over a few of the other fun bits, and also some of the other oddities. Now, one of the first things I want to talk about is this is a pre-crafted home. There is no workshop support, and the mod maker doesn't plan on adding that because any messing around of it on your own could potentially break some of the things that they're doing. Ooh, I forgot to turn off the jukebox earlier. Hold on, let me go do that. Wonderful. Yeah. But if you would like to still have a workshop-enabled space in here, the mod maker does recommend the mobile workshop mod to do that. But yeah, they don't have plans on making this workshop because they want this bar looking like a dive bar. And frankly, I like that. I like that a lot personally. I actually really prefer pre-crafted player homes. I'm not huge into workshop-based ones, so I very much do enjoy it. Now let's take a look down here on the ground floor, where of course we have the bar with a lot of stuff we can loot if you do so desire. Of course, that will take away from the aesthetic of the place if you do so. We have on the right-hand side here that bounty terminal that I mentioned, which unlocks after you have turned on the Protectron. And it's the Hunt a Commie station. It's got a whole little thing about how to use it, and then, you know, targets you can grab to hunt down for the DIA and US Army. Cool, good times. Very fun. We do, of course, back at the bar, have a lot of whiskey and beer and everything, again, that you could loot, but it is here for the decoration of the place. And also a lovely little recipe here for a Smokestack Lightnin', which is a homemade whiskey that they serve here at the bar, I guess, which is intriguing. Just a nice little extra bit of lore. Now, most importantly, back here behind the bar is Clover Carl. He is the Protectron bartender, who is actually a full-on vendor, so that you can buy all sorts of food and alcohol, as well as a few numbers of... well, typically, it actually doesn't have it right now. He did earlier when I was playing around with it. There was also some general junk items, but there's that smokestack lightning. Nice. Good times, good times. Though I'm actually wondering now if my thinking that he had some other items in here might be because the mod actually updated a little while before I did this recording. There's a few things that were added, including that shooting range downstairs that when I was testing this mod out the day before actually didn't exist yet. So that is a fun new thing. So maybe I'm thinking the wrong things with him having some junk items. But beyond, you know, wonderful Clover Carl here, we do, of course, have some storage in the refrigerator. We've got our lovely little cooking stove here. But a very important part, kind of connected to Carl, is the Protectron terminal here, which if we activate, is of course where you turn Carl on from, but there's also this other option to activate Bouncer mode. And with this, you can actually add patrons to the bar. They're just going to be random NPCs just sort of meandering about, and by default I think it starts on like 4, so there's like multiple people walking around when you first turn this place on, which is cool. I like seeing the guests, but of course they can kind of get in the way when you're trying to do things. So if I just turn on 2, that should actually you know, bring a little bit more life to the place. You can see a guy chilling over there by the terminal, another person over there just, you know, enjoying themselves in a chair. Good time. So I do like that. You can have anything from 0 guests to make it easier on yourself moving around, or up to 6 to have the bar a little bit more packed. Fun. Now, then, after that, I think that's everything in here. I don't think I'm missing something. I probably am, though. But let's head on downstairs into the cellar, where we have the primary sort of crafting area, or at least 2 of the 4 crafting stations are here, where we've got the weapon workbench, as well as the armor workbench, and a Jangles the Moon Monkey, who... I hate that guy. And we do also have some tool cases and tool boxes in here too for a little bit of storage. But yeah, majorly what you're going to be doing is using the Concord Clover storage that's connected to all the different workstations in the place. There's not really independent storage or sorted storage or anything like that. But also down here, if we open up this door, this is the shooting range, which is pretty cool. We've got a terminal over here, as well as a gun and some ammo boxes down here if you so desire to use. And the terminal is how you actually activate this thing. And there's some instructions, then you can start the either a normal or hard drill, and you can even show the, you know, record times or cancel out. It's a pretty simple thing. You just start a drill on here, and it's gonna light up the target you gotta shoot, and then you shoot it. Boom, and boom, and boom, and boom, etc. I'm going to just go ahead and turn it off, though. Don't want to do the whole thing. And yeah, just a fun little minor element down here that's just a neat little mini game. And also, actually a useful mini game, because it could help you actually practice your shooting skills. And I do like how it's done with, you know, lighting up each of the targets. It's pretty darn cool indeed. Now, if we head back on upstairs into the main bar area and head to the top floor, where, of course... Oh, yes, this is the problem with having patrons in the place. They start getting in your way. That's why I usually turn them off. But upstairs is where we, of course, have the chemistry station for you to do that sort of work. The jukebox, of course, we saw earlier to have some music in the whole place. And we also do have a lovely little bathroom here, which is, well, there. It doesn't actually do anything, but it's there. And then you have 2 beds, either a sleeping bag right here, or a much nicer bed right here, which if you sleep in will give you the full rested perk if you get a good night's sleep. Now, also up here, we have a weapon merchant, which isn't going to be selling a whole lot of things. It's just a very generic weapon merchant, but still, you are gonna have some things, which is always good. And my personal favorite part, you got old Dean here, who, if you actually go to the vodka bottle on the table, is how you do a drinking game with Dean. He doesn't actually talk to you at all. He just says yes, and that's it. But if you do activate that bottle, you know, put up some caps to try and earn some caps, and it's just a quick text-based game for you to play around with. Just a nice little extra flair to the mod that I very much do enjoy. Ah, you're a lost kid, he says, and puts away his drink. I mean, yes it is. I'll come back later, Dean, don't you worry, sir. And yeah, that's really it for this lovely mod. It's a cool little player home. I do love the mini games that are here. I mean, the drinking one has no real value besides potentially making you some caps, but the shooting range downstairs is actually pretty cool, and like I said, could help you with training your shooting. And just overall, it's a functioning home with a nice little bit of extra flair to it with actually being a functioning bar with patrons. They do get in the way on occasion, but that is why you've got that bouncer mode. And it's just overall fun. And I very much enjoy it. And it has a cat too. I forgot to point that out earlier. It's a cute cat for you to have in a bar. Wonderful. And there are more things to come. The mod maker has plans like adding in more mini-games, the option to send your follower companions here, as well as other things that they are doing. And like I said, just this morning when I was recording this, they already updated it, taking 2 of the things off of the list. And so it's definitely being actively developed, and I can't wait to see where it does go from here. But if you would like to try this out for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, not only for a good home or some bounties or a shooting range, but, you know, for the general atmosphere. You can take a look at the link in the description. But that's going to be it for today. Hopefully you have enjoyed and you do come back for the next. But until that time, thank you for watching. As always, well, have a good one.